We were told it was a rock, cold, silent, dead. But dead things don't wake up. What follows is not speculation. It is a reconstruction of the moments surrounding 3I Atlas. The instant it stopped behaving like an object and began behaving like a system. As Atlas approached the sun, expectations were simple and unanimous. Heat would tear it apart. Radiation would strip it bare. A slow, inevitable erosion would reduce it to dust. That is not what happened. Instead of dimming, Atlas grew brighter. Instead of reddening like a dying comet, its emission shifted bluer, more energetic. Instruments recorded an increase in activity at the exact moment solar exposure intensified. Rather than losing energy, it appeared to gain it. Rocks do not recharge, but machines do. This was the first fracture in the story. 3I Atlas was not enduring the sun. It was feeding on it. For weeks before perihelion, the object tumbled chaotically, its rotation erratic and unstable, exactly what physics predicts for an irregular body in deep space. And then, without warning, the tumbling stopped. Not gradually, instantly. The rotation stabilized into a clean, steady state, as if an invisible hand had reached out and applied brakes that do not exist in nature. In space, angular momentum does not simply cancel itself. There is no friction, no air, no forgiveness, unless something intervenes. This was not damping, it was correction. 3I Atlas did not calm down. It took control. Then came the pulse. Every 46 minutes and 12 seconds. No drift, no decay, no interference. A signal repeating with machine-level precision, ticking through the noise of space like a clock with no intention of stopping. This was not random emission or thermal fluctuation. It was a heartbeat, a beacon, something declaring with perfect regularity, I am active. Soon after, the geometry betrayed it. Atlas did not grow a single cometary tail, but two, intersecting at an exact 90-degree angle. Razor-sharp streams holding their orientation through turbulence, magnetic disruption, and solar chaos. Gas does not do this. Solar wind cannot sculpt precision. Yet the structure held. This was not debris dispersing, this was alignment, a crosshair drawn across space. Then came a change so subtle it was nearly dismissed. A minute adjustment in trajectory, barely detectable, yet mathematically exact. Atlas aligned itself with the orbital plane of every outer planet. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, forming a straight, impossible edge across the solar system, and once aligned, it began to emit harmonic pulses. Each frequency matched known orbital resonances, as if the object were listening, calibrating, synchronizing, tuning itself to the architecture of our system, like a device joining a network. Then came the ultraviolet burst, focused, narrow, laser-precise. It was not aimed at Earth, not broadcast indiscriminately into space. It was directed toward a specific region, between Vega and Lyra, the origin of the 1977 WOW signal, the most famous unanswered transmission in human history. 3I Atlas was not asking a question. It was replying. In the final millisecond of that ultraviolet flash, independent labs detected modulation, structure embedded within the signal. Not noise, not artifact, meaning, decoded into 3 words. Words that did not come from us. We remember you. The data existed only briefly. Long enough to be seen, long enough to be recorded, then it vanished, erased, scrubbed, never officially acknowledged. But it was there. As Atlas continued its passage, something even more disturbing appeared. Stars behind it began to distort. Subtle warping, microlensing effects that suggested space-time itself was bending. But the mass didn't match. This was not gravity from bulk matter. It was active field manipulation, a controlled envelope, a shield, a bubble in which space itself obeyed different rules. No natural object does this. Finally, there was the brightness. Not a flare, not an eruption, not decay. An exponential curve, clean, Predictable, intentional, not growth. A countdown. To what? We were never told. And then, just as the pattern became impossible to ignore, everything stopped. NASA archives locked. ESA feeds delayed. Press conferences softened into vague summaries. Raw data disappeared behind access restrictions. The world didn't calm down, it was quieted. Because this was no longer a discovery, it was no longer astronomy. It was contact. And contact, once recognized, is never allowed to speak for itself. After the ultraviolet transmission faded, something else appeared. Not light, not motion. Echoes. The same harmonic signature returned, faint but unmistakable, detected not beyond the solar system, but within it. Resonances began appearing in places they shouldn't, repeating the same pattern Atlas had emitted moments earlier, which means only one thing: the signal was heard, and something answered. This was not a flyby. 3i Atlas did not simply pass Earth on its way to nowhere. It arrived. It powered up as it approached the sun. It stabilized its motion. It aligned itself with our planetary architecture. It communicated precisely, intentionally. And then it went silent. Not because nothing happened, but because everything did. Every anomaly, every alignment, every pulse points toward a single conclusion that no longer bends under alternative explanations. This was not a comet, not debris, not a coincidence written in ice and dust. It was an intelligent probe, ancient, purposeful, aware. And whatever history exists between Earth and the stars, it did not begin with humanity. We were not the first to look outward. We were the ones being checked in on. The silence that followed was not the end of the event. It was containment. The truth was not buried. It was delayed. And delay is not denial. Because whatever woke up near the sun did not exhaust its purpose here. It finished one phase and moved on. We are not alone. We never were. And now, we have been remembered. Whatever comes next is already in motion. The truth is coming.